I was calling up my mom every other day, sobbing my eyes out, which is something I never do. Hey guys, welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about the time that being unexpectedly pregnant saved me from a very, very toxic, horrible work environment. I have a couple disclaimers before I start. One, my baby is right below the camera. If you hear weird baby noises, just ignore it. He's going through that phase of I have to see mommy or else I cry. My next disclaimer, in no way, shape, or form in this video will I ever be recommending that you just up and randomly quit a job. I'm not recommending that you get pregnant to have an excuse to quit a job. This is just my personal experience. All right, let's get into it. All right, so we're gonna start off with a little bit of backstory. I have been in retail for quite a long time. I was seeing a lot of red flags in management. There were just a lot of toxicity. There were favoritism all over that place. I am not okay with management who treats you like garbage, and that is exactly what my managers would do. It was definitely just a cruddy work situation. There's no expectations in place for work-life balance. I also hated the aspect that if you worked hard, they would then expect you to do 3 times the amount of a normal employee. What do you mean? I don't want to do their job on top of my job. I was doing like 3 people's jobs all at once. The other thing I hated about this job is that they purposely were understaffing, and so there was like this whole weight on us. And when I say purposely, like this company could afford a couple extra employees, and they refused. They did not care. And they wouldn't get employees in places that made sense. They would overstaff one section of the store, so there was like 20 employees, and then only a couple of us would have to do the workload of the position that they were not hiring for. Among other things, I got fed up, and I was like, yeah, I can get better pay and I can have a better experience elsewhere, so I'm gonna start looking for a job, and I did. That's when I found another retail job, and I actually was able to get paid more. I was going to be able to be a supervisor. I was excited actually because it was sold to me as this fantastic experience, and I was really excited for it. Like, I could not wait. I was like, this is gonna be great. In my interview, it seemed like a well-oiled machine and way more organized than my other job ever thought to be. So I gave my other job my 2 weeks, worked it out, and then I started my new job. So I was pretty excited. I thought this was going to be a cool experience. I went in with like a really good attitude for this place. I was actually like, other than the first day like jitters that you get, I was very excited. So I get started there, and at first everybody is extremely nice, and I'm like, wow, okay, cool. Until when I first got into this job, I realized, even as supervisor positions, that they only like to train you for maybe an hour, and then they're like, oh, okay, go figure it out. And I'm like, well, I don't even know your policies yet. What do you mean, go figure it out? Like, it's quite literally my first day. So that was kind of interesting. I was not very excited about that because I kind of got thrown to the wolves a million times, and I know I was doing things incorrectly, and I would hear people being like, why is this wrong? Why is this wrong? It's like, I don't know what I'm doing, and like, I don't have anybody to ask questions to because my trainer is just gone. So that was definitely red flag number 1. I know it kind of made me a little uneasy. But whatever. Like, if that's the only thing, okay, sure, whatever. That's fine. Every job has its thing. That was not the only thing. My coworkers started telling me that in the past 3 years, there had been 5 people in my position, and all of them either quit or got fired. 5 people in 3 years in my exact position. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And they're like, yeah. And the managers was in on this conversation. This was not back like gossip. This is like actual conversation happening, and like one lady simply got fired because she just like could not keep up with the job anymore. It was not that she was doing anything horribly wrong. She just couldn't do it. So yeah, that made me very uneasy. All of a sudden, I was kind of getting really anxious. I was like, uh-oh, what did I get myself into? So, I was trying to keep a positive attitude, but already I was starting to have like a bunch of warning bells in my head going off. I was like, uh-oh. I tend to have anxiety, but this was like an out of the ordinary anxiety for even me. Like, it was insane. But I tried to push through. I'm like, okay, whatever. I just started. Like, whatever. This, it's probably not that bad. Probably overthinking, because I do that sometimes. So whatever. So then came the work-life balance incident. My manager let me know because I put in a request for some time off because we were going to do a big family vacation at the end of the year. When I say end of the year, it was before holiday season. It was towards the end of the year. And it was several months away. Like, I think it was like 5.5 months away. Like, it was a long time away. He then told me that whether or not I was a supervisor, he was not going to approve my time off until about 2 weeks before, because he had no idea if we would have enough staff. And he doesn't know what could possibly come up, so he cannot approve my time off until 2 weeks before I was scheduled to go on vacation. I would understand a little bit more if I gave him zero notice. If I was like, yeah, okay. Uh-oh. We had a boo-boo. We had a boo-boo. Almost 6 months of a notice. Like, I'm sorry. You need to approve that time off because that is not my fault. And if I book, like, hotels and resorts and plane tickets and you all of a sudden pull the rug out from under me 2 weeks ahead of time, like, I don't care if you fire me, I'm still going on that trip. Like, that one really got me. I got extremely anxious after that. I was like, there is gonna be no work-life balance in this place at all. I am a girly who needs time away from her job sometimes to reset, refocus. I need vacation. It wasn't good. I don't think work environments like that are okay ever, because employees deserve lives outside of work. But like, I was so upset with this. This one really got to me. And again, like, it's usually something that I would be upset and anxious about, but like, my anxiety was spiraling. At this point, I had called my mom a couple of times on my lunch break, absolutely crying to her, and I am not a crier. Anybody will tell you this. Like, I do not call anybody in tears because I'm anxious and upset. Like, I absolutely just could not pinpoint why my anxiety was so bad. Like, I've never had anxiety as bad as I had in this moment. Got this really, really deep, bad feeling this job was not gonna work out. In fact, I was so sure of it. Like, I've never had a gut intuition like I had in this moment. My manager had also told me that there were several occasions where he had to wait several days to go on a planned vacation with his wife and daughter, because his managers, even though they knew in advance, they decided last minute that they needed to have a company meeting, even though it wasn't of anything like emergency quick that needed to be discussed. It was simply just stuff that they wanted to talk to him about. I just was beside myself with that information because he was talking about it like that was just totally okay. Well, my first Saturday came around, and if you've ever worked retail, you know that Saturdays are always the busiest day of the week. And I am brand new to this company. I've barely learned anything this week because nobody has really trained me. They just threw me on things, and I don't know their procedures or policies. And they're like, okay, yeah, I need you to just go on the floor and start working like normal. And I'm like, what are you actually talking about? Like, I don't know what you mean. They also wanted to train me on register, which is fine. I'm fine with that. However, my position primarily is before store is open, and they started pushing me for a ton of register training, which made zero sense to me because most of my time at that store was going to be when there are no customers, and I do not need to make any transactions whatsoever. The manager kept saying to me, like, why aren't you jumping in? Like, I need you to jump in. Like, start getting comfortable with jumping in. And I'm like, I don't have the knowledge to jump in. I'm not a fan as a manager of just winging it. That is not what I want to do. I have led teams before, and it was with all of the knowledge that this is the ways that our store does things, and I had really good training on it, but here there was none of that, and it was insane to me. Then going forward, a lady who was still working there, who was in my position but stepped down because she had kids and could not possibly do what I was doing anymore. There was no way. She's like, yeah, I could not do your position anymore. She's like, I hated it. It was horrible. She's like, the expectations were so unrealistic. It didn't make any sense. She's like, I hated that position, and I hope for the best for you, and I'm not trying to scare you, but they are horrible with the position that you were in. I then got word that we have another supervisor, and she was on maternity leave with her first baby. All fine, all great. I was like, oh, that's really cool. Well, every other manager who was around me, which was about 3 or 4 of them, started mocking her. And when I say mocking her, I mean like out and out bad-mouthing this woman because she was taking her full maternity leave. Under the company that I was working for, you get up to 12 weeks of maternity leave. She took her full 12 weeks, and they were like so mad at her, saying things like, she didn't invent motherhood, she can come back. Oh, like, why does she need to take her full 12 weeks? Nobody does that. That's so stupid. It was things that were being said that people in higher positions should never say in front of other employees. If they feel that way, it's one of those things that you should either keep to yourself or you talk one-on-one in complete private settings. You don't just say stuff like that on the floor, like, in front of everybody. And then, one of the last straws for me, I was going to be a key holder. I was going to be a manager. I don't know if this is standard elsewhere. They told me that should the police ever contact me, okay, I could be off shift. It could have been something that, like, I wasn't even the last person to lock up to be there, right? If the police ever contact me because our store alarms are going off and I missed that call, I am automatically terminated. So essentially, if I sleep through the police calling me, if I am in a doctor's appointment and I don't answer when the police calls and I miss it because my phone is on silent, if this, that, and the other thing goes on and I miss a call from an officer, I am terminated. Even though there's a whole list of managers they can call, if one doesn't pick up for a reason, I am terminated. I'm done. I'm done. I was really freaked out by this point. I was like, I've never heard of any of this before in my life. I was just beside myself. Like I said, I have never had anxiety like I had in this moment. I've dealt with anxiety for years, and this was like, I was off the walls with anxiety. My mental was so bad. I genuinely was wrestling with whether or not I needed to go to the hospital or not. Disclaimer, I don't recommend doing this, but I randomly decided to email my boss and I said, for medical reasons, I cannot do this job. I'm done. So after 2 weeks, after 2 weeks of being there, I gave no notice. I quit. I was done. I sent him an email of all of my stuff, and then I immediately blocked all of his contacts. I blocked the store's contacts, everything. I had left already when I needed to leave there, so there was nothing. Like, I didn't have anything that they needed from me. I blocked him. I have no idea what his response was to this day. I saw in my spam one day that he replied, and I just clicked it, deleted it, and then I never read it. I didn't want to read it. I still to this day don't want to read it. I'm not even really curious about what he said. So fast forward, I took a couple days to just try to rest my brain after I quit, and over those few days I kind of had a relief wash over me. A lot of my anxiety started to go away. I was still anxious, but not on the scale that I had been. Well, then my husband, literally 2 weeks after I quit this job, my husband joked around, maybe you're pregnant, because I had been late on my period and I was having this really weird like acid reflux that I'd never had before in my life, and I just felt off. And he's like, maybe you're pregnant. Listen, he's made that joke before when my periods have been late, and it has never bothered me one single bit. Like, I was like, I'm not pregnant, what do you mean? Well, this time I absolutely could not get the thought out of my head, so I went to the bathroom and I took a pregnancy test, and I'm telling you, a minute didn't even pass and there was 2 vivid lines on that pregnancy test. At first I didn't really put 2 and 2 together, but I did realize very quickly that I think my whole body knew I was pregnant, that this job was not going to work with having a baby, that people could make it work, but because of my personal feelings towards kids and towards motherhood, like, it just was not going to work for me. I think it was like a week after I started getting morning sickness, and the type of morning sickness where you can't keep anything in your stomach, and I was miserable for several weeks, and there was no way that I was going to be able to do what that job demanded of me, on top of learning, on top of all that stuff, while being that sick. There's no way. I could not do it. Lo and behold, we're a lot better now, and I'm so grateful I'm not there. There's a lot of things looking back that I was like, yeah, that would have never worked with me being a mother. I am telling you, as sure as I am standing here, if a school ever calls me because they need me to pick up my kid, if my kid is sick, if this, that, and the other thing ever happens, I'm calling off work because I am a mother first. Like, yeah, I have a husband who can help me, and he does help me. But like, he makes significantly more money than I was making, and so it makes more sense for me as mom to go and be with my kid. I am a firm believer of not letting your workplace walk all over you. To a point, there are things that you have to put up with because every job has their things. But when there are multiple red flags and you feel really unsettled about a job, it's probably because it's not a good idea. Fast forwards for several months, I actually kept a close eye on the site that I found the job listing on. It was over the span of 3 or 4 months. I kept an eye on it, and that posting kept getting put up and taken down and put up and taken down and put up and taken down. I think a total of 5 times it was put up and taken down within a few months, and that was just proof to me that nobody could stay in that job. Nobody wanted that job. There is no way that that job was working out. I think like the job itself could be really fun, but the policies and the way that they handled so many things just was not, it was not it, and it was not okay. And that is my story. Everything worked out great for us. Like I said, I'm not just encouraging people to just go randomly quit a job without anything else lined up or a plan or anything, but for me in that moment, I couldn't take it anymore. I had to. Something was gonna give, and it was gonna either be my mental that was gonna completely snap, or it was the fact that I had to give up that job. One of the two. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and maybe consider subscribing. Also, I post videos on Thursdays, so follow along for more. Bye guys!